What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics. Today we got a reaction to the Travis album, The Invisible Band, brought to you by friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, Ian. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us anyway, check out that Patreon link below, the Patreon link on the end screen. We're running a free trial for Patreon, so go check it out. All right, we did The Man Who last month by Travis for Ian. So now we're going to jump into this one. So Ian says, in 2001, Travis followed up 1999's The Man Who with The Invisible Band, another commercially successful album selling more than 2 million copies and reaching #1 in the UK, plus gained more global recognition with #1s in Ireland, Norway, and high rankings in other European countries. Only made it to 39 in the USA, though this is their highest album chart position stateside. All right, I found third studio album. The songwriter Fran Healy said the title referred to the band's status of having famous songs but not being famous themselves, which would kind of be the dream, I think. But it spent 4 weeks at the top of the UK albums chart, selling more copies in that time than their previous album, The Man Who, achieved in 6 months. Because that stands to reason, right? A slow burner album and then hits big. Now you're already big. It should sell better. It was recorded at Ocean Way Recording in Los Angeles. It was produced by Niall Godrich, just like the previous album. According to Fran, Godrich arrived for the sessions in a bad mood. Healy said Godrich was frustrated after grueling recording sessions for Radiohead albums Kid A and Amnesiac, and so, quote, took it out on us because he couldn't take it out on Radiohead. I love Radiohead. Those are the two albums I don't get, and I know those are the two albums that those of you who get it think are the greatest albums ever. I get it. Godrich was strict with Travis and rejected their initial work, which they found dispiriting. Eventually, after a serious argument, the mood settled. Healy felt it was good for Godrich to work with melodic bands such as Travis, as well as more experimental acts such as Radiohead. The group began to make progress after a session experimenting with unusual instruments such as a tempura. Metacritic 71 out of 100, so critics were kind of every which way, which this will tell you that too. Pitchfork was a 6.1 out of 10, but NME was an 8 out of 10. All tracks, I've already alluded to them, are written by Fran Healy, except where I indicate. All right, music won't be in the video, but it's going to be a Vimeo link below. So click on that, follow on with the music. Let's jump into it. With the first track, Sing. Ian says, big money has been spent on this fun video, because we're going to watch the video, and proper promotion following the success of the Man Who album meant this first single from the Invisible Band was the band's best chart performance with a #3, and it even went to 37 in the USA. The banjo and beautiful vocals should make this the outstanding track on the album. This album's pretty special. It gives it a 9.5 out of 10. I found it was the lead single. Healy originally titled the melody Swing, but eventually changed the title to Sing because the record company was afraid people would think of swingers. Making it about working past the troubles of a relationship by not being afraid to let oneself go and sing in front of a loved one, which is an awkward thing, especially if you're just not with them for very long. The song is noted for its prominent use of the banjo, which Ian mentioned, played by lead guitarist Andy Dunlap, and contains a string arrangement performed by Millennia Strings. All right, we're going to watch the video up on this one, but usually I'll have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Ian. All right, Sing. I'm trying to focus on the song and the video because the video is so entertaining. Oh, partway through the song, I'm like, I got to pay more attention to the song. I mean, the song is really good. The video had to be a lot of fun, I think, to film. I've never been in a food fight. I don't know if I'd like to get hit. I'd like to throw food at other people. So I don't know if that part where you know you're about to take it and you really want to do that in one take. But fantastic video, great fun. The guys sound just really, really good. The guitar melody, all of it. The banjo, interesting use of it. I wonder what went into even thinking about using the banjo, not traditionally what we would do. All right. Yeah, fantastic opener. Dear Diary. Ian says this song is rather overshadowed by its surrounding singles. Still a great song, 8 out of 10. And boys and girls, those of you that aren't, older or wiser or more mature, whatever you want to say for my age range, Dear Diary, there's something we used to write our thoughts down now. I don't know if people do anything of that now. They probably their thoughts are probably on their Instagram stories, I guess. Dear Diary, perfectly arranged song because of the lyrical content matter. This guy's in trouble. He's kind of going down. He's talking to the diary, telling he doesn't really understand why, but he's going down. I mentioned this on The Man Who. There were a couple songs now. Nigel Godrich did that album as well in this one, and I already mentioned he's Radiohead's guy. Fran sounds a lot like Tom York on this, right? I don't think he's trying to. I think it's the arrangement with the strings and just that Radiohead sound. I mean, Radiohead has a lot of different sounds, but that sound, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. It's just kind of, especially at the start, you're like, wow, this could be a Radiohead song. You could convince me that's what this is. But I thought it was a really good song. Really, it would have been perfect for me to say on that. It shows a different side of them because it's dialed back even more. And then I could have segued into that, but that would have been just a horrible transition. So I didn't do it to you. All right, we got Side. Ian says, one of those songs I've listened to on loop for hours. Sang my heart out to and reduced me to tears. Fantastic, epic song that sends shivers down your spine, even on the 500th listen. The budget for the video seems to be pretty much unlimited, and you can feel the record label trying to break into the U.S. market. A 10 out of 10. I've been doing reactions for Ian for a very long time. A 10 out of 10 is very rare for him. I found it was the second single, 14 in UK. Writing about the song's origin on the band's official website, Fran recalled that the first part of Side that he conceived was a rap segment, which he would later discard. After completing the rap, he composed the riff and music over the next few weeks so it would complement the rap verse, toying around with the lyrics until penning the final result in February of 2000 during a plane trip. It was during this trip that he also created the name of the parent album, The Invisible Band. He has stated that Side is about how people think that there's a better life for them somewhere in the world, but in actuality, no one is better off than anyone else, as life is shared by everyone. In other words, everyone stands on one side of life. Pretty wise sentiment. All right, Side. No doubt that is an absolutely fantastic song. So catchy. The video was great too. UFOs, they're in California on this video. I recognize a lot of the scenery, not firsthand, but just that's the lay of the land in the LA area and outside of LA. Just fantastic. The UFOs are coming, and living here in the United States, we actually had some hearings last month on UFOs and all the stuff coming out that the government was hiding. That's a shocker, right? We don't want to paranoid the masses that there's other life out there because some people would freak out, but really, really well done. Man, Fran sounds great. The melody, the build into that chorus, the grass is always greener on the other side. The neighbor's got a new car that you want to drive, all those things, right? But the grass is rarely greener on the other side. I could tell you as a 53-year-old guy that's subscribed to that philosophy, as we all do on occasion over the years, not in a very long time. It's usually not. Every once in a while it is, but it's usually not. Because in human nature, we have this weird thing of always wanting what we don't have. Next up, we have Pipe Dreams. Ian says, another good song, 8 out of 10. Pipe Dreams, kind of let you know that it doesn't really matter in life whether you win or you lose. We're all kind of relegated to the same fate, sort of. The guitar melody on this is fantastic. I mean, just another really good song. These first 4 songs are starting out like fire. And this 5th song is probably going to be the same because it was also a single, and that's usually a good sign. Flowers in the Windows. Ian says, a bizarre and interesting video filmed in South Africa. Paul McCartney made an uncredited contribution helping with the ending of the song. I'll get to more of that in a minute. Not clear to me that this should have been selected as only the 3rd single off the album, but still a nice song, 8 out of 10. As he said, 3rd and final single, 18 in the UK, 35 in Ireland. According to Fran, he wrote the song during 1998 in France at Mike Hedges' recording studio while Travis were recording the previous album, The Man Who. When Hedges told Healy that every artist who recorded at his studio wrote a song there, Healy refused to do so because he, quote, didn't feel like it. He had previously written songs alone in his room, but one day he sat at Hedges' piano and composed the opening riff. He then transferred this riff to his guitar and came up with most of the song's melody and its hook, which he wanted to be 6 syllables. Upon looking outside at Hedges' garden, he came up with the hook entitled Flowers in the Window. Later that night, he stayed at the studio while the rest of the band were out drinking. After they returned inebriated and went to sleep, Healy heard what he thought was someone choking on vomit, and he ran around the chateau searching for whoever was making this noise. Eventually, he found bassist Dougie Payne vomiting out his bedroom window. Perturbed by this incident, he returned to his room, wrote the song's lyrics on the back of an envelope in 10 minutes, and cried when he recited them. He explained on the band's website, I was aware for the first time that a good distraction is necessary in writing lyrics, or not being conscious of what I'm doing is required if I have to have that magic. And they had this song pretty much written, like I talked about here, and then they played it for McCartney somewhere. I can't remember. I guess I didn't write it down. I read it, and McCartney just helped him with a little bit with the ending. So, all right, video on this one as well. All right, Flowers in the Window. To say this is a bizarre video is an understatement because obviously, if you just watch it, if you're not watching along on Vimeo, then you didn't just watch it. But every woman in here, I mean, there's only women in here besides the band, and they're all pregnant. Maybe the OB doc wasn't. I don't remember. I didn't even notice. Was she pregnant too? I don't know. She would have been busy. She would have not been hurting for money. That's for sure. She would have had unlimited work. Just a weird video. And almost distracted for the song from me, but great melody, guitar melody as always from these guys. Very catchy. Not as good as the first two singles, but well done. And I'd love to know what went into the thought process of why make the video. So I guess flowers in the window could be, pregnant. I see the flowers and when I see that a child's about to be born, I guess is the concept. That's what I'm going to go with here. I'll finish off the first half of the album with The Cage. Ian says, it's a charming song, overshadowed by the crazy good other tracks, though, on this stomping first half. That's for sure. The first half is very strong. 7 out of 10. All right, The Cage. Awfully well done. That falsetto on there from Fran, that acoustic guitar melody. Really well done. It's lost love. You can't keep her caged, right? It's delaying the spring when she's going to leave. So he realizes they're not supposed to be together forever, although I'm assuming he wants that, but realizes he can't keep her caged in. But clever songwriting and the right arrangement for the emotion of the song, beautifully delivered. A very, very, very strong side one. As we go to side two, a lot of albums back in the day, and we're talking about CDs at this point, but let's still talk about traditional side one and side two. They front loaded them. So let's see if this is the case here. We got Safe. Ian says, enjoyable track that has the Travis sound. 7.5 out of 10. All right, Safe. A good song. It was only 4 minutes, 23 seconds, but it actually seemed like it was longer, not really in a good way, but it's not a bad song at all. The difficulty when you have such a loaded side like side one is that a song like this is still a good song, right? But when I'm listening to them, like, this isn't very good. And then I got to kind of readjust my thinking and go, no, this is still a good song. It's just we're comparing it against the previous songs. It's hard not to do, but you've got to try to judge it on its own merit. So all that to say, still a good song. Song number 8, always good advice. Follow the Light. Ian says maybe should have been the 4th single. Second half of the album doesn't feature an obvious outstanding track, but this is pretty strong. 8 out of 10. Follow the Light. Once again, I know I'm a broken record, so to speak, but great guitar melody on here. Fran sounds really good. I like the message of the song as well. It's got the right arrangement for that, like upbeat. Follow the Light. In other words, take a chance, man. Take a chance. I know so many people who don't take chances to follow the dreams they have, or not even dreams. Sometimes it's hyperbole, but just things they want to do, and they're too scared to fail or too scared to try. That's a horrible way to live life, boys and girls, and most people live that way. I'm not saying go out there and get too crazy if it's going to be detrimental to you, but man, go live life because you only get one of them. Next up, we got Last Train. Ian says one of the weaker tracks, but it's still damn good. 7 out of 10. Okay, pretty good song, actually. I know Ian said it was a pretty good song. The lyrics, my man Fran has had it with this girl, and in verse 2, he spells it all out, everything he's going to do. He's going to get a gun and shoot everyone, and you really shouldn't say that in 2001, but now in 2024, you can't say that. And then he's going to come after her because it's her fault. So didn't see it going that way. It's his last train, right? But a really well put together song. Perfect arrangement, a little haunting in there. Still got 3 tracks left. Let's go to Afterglow. It says picks up with a more upbeat feel. 7.5 out of 10. Afterglow, a good song. One thing about Travis, I've learned through almost 2 albums, their guitar melodies are on par with just about anybody. And Fran's vocals fit so well with the arrangement. And I've talked a lot about the arrangement on these albums because sometimes I don't think a lot of artists match up the voices, right? The vocals and the vocal range with necessarily the arrangement, because a lot of times the lyrics and the music are written by 2 different people. And sometimes those don't mesh. Now, obviously, Fran is working this thing out, but, on his own for the most part. But it's done really, really well. Like those mesh on almost every song perfectly. Next up, we have Indefinitely. Ian says, beautiful, laid-back song. 7.5 out of 10. Did you see that? Trip me up, boys and girls, if you were watching it. Because when that alarm was going off, it sounded like that was coming from, like over here. It was just in that channel, but I'm like, there's nothing in this room to be, what is going on? But it didn't sound like it was coming through my headphones. But it was. And definitely a pleasant song. Fits the sound of this album. I don't have a lot else to say about it. Let's go to the final track, the Humpty Dumpty love song. Ian says, very strong ending to the album. They resisted the hidden tracker. Kudos for having that kind of restraint. The low-key percussion, which only subtly changes throughout the song. A really heartfelt vocal performance makes this a great song. 8 out of 10 for the final track. All right, the Humpty Dumpty love song. Really good way to end this album. Longest song on this album, but really, really good. It's not a theme, I wouldn't say, but there's a commonality in several of these songs about a lost love, and this one goes with it as well. You know, it's not working out well for Fran, so I don't know. Those songs are easier to write though, because if you've ever had heartache, you can draw from that in one way or the other and kind of pull that emotion out. So I don't know if Fran was writing from a place where he'd recently had heartache, or it's just easier to write these songs, but there's a commonality here. But yeah, I did think the arrangement was punched up and interesting. So nice way to finish it off. And you kind of need that. It's not a long album lengthwise, but it's 12 songs. So you don't want it to kind of fade out, which is what a lot of albums do. They avoided that here. And now we're going to get to my favorite tracks. Honorable mentions. From the second side, we got Follow the Light. And this last song, the Humpty Dumpty love song. First side, honorable mentions, Flowers in the Window, Pipe Dreams, and Dear Diary. Favorite songs are Sing, and my favorite song on here is Side. So Ian's got some final thoughts. He says, although the second half is a little weaker, it's really a fantastic album. It's significantly better than The Man Who, making it my favorite Travis album by just beating 2020's 10 songs, by being more consistent, and 8.5 out of 10. Ian is 100% right on what he said. So this is an interesting album because the second side, and I had 2 honorable mentions. That's why I don't usually say from the first side, second side when I give my faves, but just to illustrate. So the second side is a good album. If it was just a second side, that's a good album. And it's probably like a 7.5. The first side is tremendous. And only the last song on the first side didn't make either a fave or an honorable mention. So the first side would have been bordering on like 8.75 territory, maybe 9 territory for me. So if you take those two things together, it's not a science, guys. That's not really how I come up with a grade. But in this case, just to kind of give you a little science, I'm going to kind of meet it in the middle at an 8.25. Now, for a frame of reference, I want you to go watch our Man Who review. Just type Travis up there in the bar above, and it'll take you almost right to it. I give an 8.0 to that. I'm going to be at an 8.25 on this. You could talk me into an 8.5 on the right day. Really good stuff. I don't really know anything about Travis before these 2 albums. I mean, we have a song battle up and they appear in a couple top 10, but you know, that's different than diving into full albums and really getting to know a band. So thanks a lot to Ian for bringing these. Let me know what you think of this album down below. And a couple of things. I got 3 assignments for you. I know you come here to watch. I got 3 assignments for you. What are your favorite songs? Do you think this or The Man Who is better? And what is Travis's best album? If you don't want to answer all 3, it's all right. This isn't school. You don't have to. It's just a request. All right, guys. Until next time, I will see you.